What's good, everybody? Is when I come back at you another video. So this video is going to be all about breaking down irrational fears, and I want this video to explain to you guys why irrational fears are just that, irrational. Now, when I say irrational fears, these are fears that are not rational, right? Fears that don't have any logical base or foundation to it, that in the moment we may think that there's truth to it when in actuality there is none. And these irrational fears come about likely because we don't have any proven track record that we're capable or good enough, right? Sometimes these irrational fears stem from not being good enough or not having any evidence of success yet, but immediately jump into conclusions that you might not be able to do something or that you can't do something because you haven't done something before. And just remember, these irrational fears are just that, irrational, right? And I want to explain this video by using some examples of my own life to help illustrate this. Now, first and foremost, one of the examples that come to mind immediately is during my time in college, right? I remember when I was a senior, or I guess probably like a junior, because junior year is when you're applying to colleges, right? I remember being told that I needed to apply to these, top private schools, right? And even though I was one of the top GPAs in my class, I didn't think I had a chance, because the whole time I'm thinking, all right, I, just went to public school my whole life. I did good in school because I was told to do good in school. And I knew that probably at some point I would end up in college because that is the right thing to do, especially if you're a good student. But I didn't know what I wanted to study. I didn't know what I wanted to major in. I didn't know anything. And I remember being told, hey, that, by my college advisor, that I needed to apply to a lot of the top schools. And I thought she was crazy. And I'm telling her, I'm like, Miss, why would I do that? I'm not good enough, because if I get into these top schools, I know that things aren't going to work out for me. I know that I'm going to struggle because I didn't go to any one of the, I've never been to private school before. I'm just a public school student. Like I'm great at school, but I can't hang with the top schools in the world. Like, I'm not a genius by any means. And she looked at me and basically like waved off the idea and insisted that I applied. Well, long story short, I ended up being admitted into one of the top universities, like in the United States or in the world. And I remember touching down over the summer because prior to beginning my freshman year, I needed to do the summer program at that college so that I can take classes and get acclimated and get some credits to prepare for the academic year in the fall. And I remember when I first stepped foot on campus and I looked around for the first time, I remember telling myself that I don't belong here, that this is imposter syndrome, that I'm a smart kid, but I'm not a genius. And only the top, the geniuses in the world are the ones who goes to schools like this. And I didn't fit that criteria, right? That there's imposter syndrome, that I'm not good enough. Long story short, of course, I ended up graduating in those 4 years, and I graduated with close to 3.0 GPA, right? So I would like to think, coming from public school, right, and, having my experience been the way it is, I consider that an absolute success, and I'm proud of everything I was able to accomplish. And it's silly to think that at one point I believed that, imposter syndrome was a real thing, that I thought that I was chosen as one of the students by accident, that there must have been some sort of mistake here, that I was not good enough. And I felt that and believed that prior to getting any sort of evidence that I was capable, right? And it was only after like my first semester when I started seeing that a lot of my classes I got A's and B's, and that's when I began to realize, like, hey, I can actually, succeed here, right? And that is what eventually changed like my whole mentality. But when I'm talking about irrational fears, I mean just that. It's like these are fears that we tell ourselves that we believe it to be true because we don't have any proven track record of success. And so sometimes we don't even start. Sometimes it's things that we want to do or things that we want to begin, right? Goals and dreams that we have, that we just keep postponing it and delaying it because we think that this, whatever this fear is, that this fear has weight to it, that it has bearing, and so it prevents us from getting started. It's like, imagine if you told my freshman self that, or my high school self, that I would go to one of the top schools and graduate with close to a 3.0 GPA. Like, I would be absolutely ecstatic, because I know that I can in fact do well, and I can in fact excel if I put my mind to it, right? But it just felt like that irrational fear to some degree held me back. And it's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Because if you believe that you're not good enough, then to some degree you are going to hold yourself back, because you're going to believe that you're not good enough. So it's almost like, why even bother? Why even try if you're not good enough, right? That's how it all plays out for some people. These irrational fears take up all of their mental space, and that prevents them from ever getting started to begin with, right? Another example that I had when it came to posting content, right? I've been so passionate about personal development because I've focused on this for many years, and I've noticed myself grow over the years, and I've just gotten better and better as a person, and my mind is in the right place, my energy is in the right place, right? I'm showing up each and every day with the right attitude. And so I remember telling myself, if this is so important to me, and if this helped me improve my life dramatically, then I'm sure this can probably be important information that I can share with other people to help people live their lives the right way, right? And yet I had an irrational fear that slowed me down and definitely hindered my progress here, because for the longest period I kept telling myself, you know, what if people don't care about what I have to say? What if people don't care about my content? Nowadays we live in a digital age with TikTok, and you know how everything is about YouTube shorts, and it's about just flooding everyone with dopamine and having all these camera cuts and all these effects with their videos. I kept telling myself, what if people don't watch my videos or listen to what I have to say, because my videos are going to be bare bones and authentic, where I'm just sitting here speaking into a camera and a microphone with minimal cuts. Pretty much the 99% of my videos are all done in one take, right? What if these videos don't latch on because my videos aren't with the times, right? Or that what if people don't care about my videos because it isn't filmed in a fancy studio with all the fancy lighting and all the fancy equipment that other larger channels have, right? Like, how would I ever succeed? How would I, right? Like, these are all irrational fears, right? I also used to think one of the reasons why I didn't film videos sooner was because I wanted to have a nice background for my videos. And I used to tell myself, what will people think if I simply just recorded these videos in my bedroom sitting in front of my bed? Will people ever make fun of me doing that, right? It's like, oh, you're just filming in your bedroom, right? Like, what will people say about me in the comment section? Or what will other people think about me if they see me posting content, right? Like, I had all of these irrational fears which prevented me from getting started with posting content sooner. And they're all, I look at it now and I just laugh because it's all silly. It's all been silly, right? And that just slowed me down. And by no means am I regretting anything, because I know that I operated the best that I could with the information that I had available, right? So by no means am I regretting anything. But if I look back, right, it is very well possible that my journey could have began 2 years earlier. I could have been consistent 2 years earlier than when I finally began being consistent on this platform. But once again, I don't judge it or anything, because I appreciate my journey and I appreciate everything about it. And so now I'm able to laugh at it and smile now today, right? Because I know that all these things are irrational, right? People are guilty of it all the time. If, let's just say, for example, you've never learned how to play any instruments, right? Say you don't have experience with instruments. I can ask you, hey, can you play the piano? And you might respond with something along the lines of, no, I can't play piano. When, if you think about it, that is an incorrect statement to say, right? It's not that you can't play it, right? Because you haven't, right? You haven't been formally trained. You haven't probably been taught how to read music. You haven't been, right? So saying that you can't do something is not correct. that sometimes also stems as an irrational fear. Well, someone hasn't done something, therefore they say that they can't because they don't want to try and embarrass themselves, right? Saying you can't play the piano is not correct, because if you were to take classes or own a piano and have the opportunity to play it each and every day, you'll get better at it. And even if you haven't done something, that doesn't mean you can't learn it in the future, right? You can very well be the next amazing pianist if you formally learn how to play it and take classes and everything, right? So some people will immediately say, "Oh no, I can't do it. I can't play the piano." When they shouldn't say that. What they should say is, "I don't have much experience with the piano and I've never been formally taught, but I can try, right? I can give an attempt." Because you can push the buttons, right? So you could play the piano, you could, right? But playing it well is completely different. But you get what I'm saying, right? Like, everyone is guilty of having irrational fears, or it can be when people have ideas of pursuing a hobby or starting a business, right? It'll be like, oh, you think about all the great things that it'll do for you, how it'll improve the quality of your life, and then that idea creeps in, that thought creeps in. What if it doesn't work out? Well, what if it does, right? What if things actually do work out? What if things go as you expected? Of course, there may be bumps along the road and obstacles, but what if it ends up being everything you could have ever imagined and more? Because if it is, then you'll be living happily and you'll be living closer to your dream life and closer to your purpose. And that's why we were put here on earth, to experience outrageous joy and pursuing what your goals, your dreams, your aspiration, that is what makes you happy. And so life will then begin feeling less like work and more like fun, right? Most people have that irrational fear. What if something doesn't work out? Well, one, what if it does? And two, there's no way to know unless you try it, right? Unless you go and attempt and put your best foot forward in doing so, right? You will never know. But some people, they let the irrational fear, right, the fear that has no logical basis or foundation to, they'll let that dictate their lives. And then for many folks out there, they will literally let their life just go by day after day, month after month, year after year, wishing and saying they want to do something, but never actually doing it, until they live their whole life never having done it and live life with regrets. Just do what makes you happy, right? And sometimes, if you truly need to write down like these fears, like these irrational fears, and write it down on paper so then you can actually look at it, sometimes that can help, because sometimes looking at it and then reading it out loud and really thinking about like the reasons for it being logical or not will help you decide if something is an irrational fear or not. Majority of fears are, irrational, like, or almost every fear is irrational, I should say. So a lot of times people have these fears because they don't have a track record of success. They don't have something to go off of that will let them know, hey, I can win, or I can do well in this, or I can be exceptional. And so they just think that they're not good enough. Well, you can be, do, or have anything in this lifetime, and you are capable of it all. You are the most powerful creature to ever exist, right? You have the ability to think for yourself, and you have an imagination that can create anything beyond your wildest dreams, right? You can envision it in your mind. So you can create anything. You can become anything, anyone, right? So irrational fears are just that, irrational. They don't have foundation. They don't have a basis, right? You can go out and win. You can create the life that you want to create and begin living life on your own terms. So hopefully this video here helps you. Hopefully this video here has you reflecting on your own life. And if there's any irrational fears that you may have, just laugh at it and just get started, and don't worry about it. Don't worry about all the details in between. If you know the step that you need to take, like the immediate step that you need to take to go pursue something, go do that, right? Because I know we all have major dreams and aspirations, and I know sometimes they can seem a little scary, not knowing how you're ever going to get to your goal, right? But what I've always been taught is to take the next logical step. Whatever you think you should be doing to get close to your dream, just do that, because as you continue taking step after step, the rest of the road is going to reveal itself to you in due time. So just keep at it, and most importantly, have fun, smile, and enjoy the journey, because the journey itself is going to be so much fun along the way. As long as you get rid of and eliminate these irrational fears, a lot of times it's just slowing you down and keeping you from being happy. So screw it, get rid of it. Just do what makes you happy and just go all in and commit to it and strive to be the best that you can, because then that's when life truly becomes a trip. So that wraps up the video. Enjoy the video. Do leave a like and subscribe, as we are on the road to 1 million subscriber, guys. So once again, it's Joel, and I'm out. I'll see you guys for the next video.